I'm Kai from Mount Kimbie, and we're just hanging out here at Berlin Festival Splash Mag. Cheers.
Yeah, Splash Mag with one half of Mount Kimbie. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, really good.
So, how was the show? How did you like it here playing in Berlin?
I loved it. Really loved it. Honestly, it's great. Really good one. Played a bad one yesterday, so it was really nice to come off stage and be like, yeah, smashed it. So.
Okay, because I've seen you in Frankfurt, as we just mentioned before, and I had the feeling that you changed the show a bit from this tour. Is this right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would have changed since then. Like, to be honest, it's hard to say. Like, I couldn't tell you how, but it's like little things that we've just come off stage and be like, oh, should we just try doing that a little bit differently? And it's like tiny little things that, because we're still playing the same songs really, so it's like just little things that that will just change to keep it fresh for us and things, you know. So.
Okay, but the singing element in your show, was this new? Because I couldn't remember this in Frankfurt.
I think there's more singing in Frankfurt.
Really?
Yeah. I think I sang in Frankfurt and Dom. So today was just one. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was asking myself, from you playing live, the whole thing, you're very much in action and stuff. But from the instruments and the technique you use, how close does this come to your real production of music?
Oh well, when we started playing live, it had nothing to do with it. So it was you know, it's a long way from kind of using a mouse or like basically just using a mouse and a keyboard basically, so, or like maybe a little controller, but now it's got a little bit more blurred, so we'll be doing stuff in a rehearsal using this equipment and say like, oh, that sounds better than what we did, you know, without it, so let's just record this, and then so more and more hardware keeps on creeping into the studio, but yeah, we'll see how the next record goes. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so have you already planned, or is there anything or any song you like better played in this live version from the studio one?
Most of the stuff from the album I prefer to play live than hear the song. So I'm trying to think. Especially, I think a song "Field" that is on our album.
Yeah.
It's like the one that is on the record is like this idea, and it's like did it in like a day or something. So it's like that's it. But if I'd taken some time to do it, it would sound like how we play it on stage, really. You know, that's how kind of the energy that I wanted from it.
Okay, and when it comes to your production, I had the feeling, because everybody was discussing about this post-dubstep and all this stuff, and I had the feeling that most of the electronic music, and especially this post-dubstep thing like James Blake and you guys do, is very much, or the technique you use, or the compressor, the sidechain compressor thing is very important in the music. Would you say that this is one of the most important elements in your music when it comes to this whole technical thing in the production?
It was something that, actually it's funny, because it was something that just like, the like floodgates opened with that particular technique. It was like, that was, I think, really the Dilla legacy was like over compressing things. Yeah. And I remember listening to his records when I was much younger, when I was, you know, 17 or something like that, and I was thinking, how is this sounding like this? Because it's like, I can't understand it. It's so tight, and these things like get sucked in, and it's like, you know, it was exciting. So I was for ages trying to figure it out, and I didn't really kind of do it. And then I remember one day in the studio being like, oh, but, you know, understanding compression a bit better, and being like, oh, so if I did, and it was like, oh, and then and then it just kind of like, bleh, like on a million songs, and then now it's like, you know, there's so much stuff, you know, and Flying Lotus is obviously as well. Yes. Very much did that, and so I feel like that sound is especially now a little bit overused, you know, and so it's kind of like, it's a cheap and easy way to be like bang, like it's pumping. So yeah, I don't know. You know, we don't use it much on stage at all, but there wasn't much on the album over that over compression, but maybe it was like over compression, like jizz fest. So yeah.
But as you just mentioned J Dilla, so is there or are there any J Dilla Madlib elements in your music today, or is there any, or other times in the studio when you sit there and say, okay, this is something J Dilla would have done this way, drum programming or something like that?
I would say Madlib was a stronger influence for me, definitely.
Okay.
I used to listen to the Quasimoto, The Unseen.
Yes.
Every day, 3 or 4 times a day. Like, I mean, I still could. It's kind of top 3 albums full time for me. Like,
okay.
But I don't think I don't particularly go after particular production techniques. I mean, I do, but I always fail in trying to copy something that someone else has done. But I think in that you find out some other thing that you're like, oh, okay, well, you just go down this road because I'm doing this, and so that becomes kind of like what you're doing, which is probably more interesting. So in terms of like not repeating what's already been done. So I think it was just more with that record, the Unseen. It was the imagination of every song. It was just like, and the record as a whole is just like this sprawling mad thing. It's just like, but it's so strong through the middle as well, you know. So it's just, beautiful record.
And it got these incredible grooves.
Yeah.
And I was asking myself when I listened to your album, because you also use samples. So how are you doing this? Is it just also this Madlib kind of way, just going through a lot of records, or how do you choose your samples?
Yeah, I guess it comes less from like, I mean, I think the amazing thing about Madlib is that he, not so much anymore, but definitely he did do very like overused techniques in terms of the records that he sampled, you know, there's like jazz and soul records and breaks and stuff, you know, and if I hear anyone else doing that, it's just like, but like it's been done, you know, but he is still very fresh in the way that he does that. But it's not like I would ever go to like a soul record or a funk record to get like drum sounds or anything like that, you know. So I guess there are other people that have done stuff that I would probably more influenced sampling wise by, but the thing that always interested me was like very small sounds in between. Like sometimes I just listen to a record, I get a record out, maybe one that I don't even know very well, and listen for the bits in between the songs, like where someone's put down a guitar or just tiny little sounds, and then somewhere in there you can find a tone, and then like EQing it, you can exaggerate the tone and either loop it and put it on a keyboard, or you know, that's kind of like where a lot of the character from our early records came from. I think it was just like something that was very quiet and you might not even hear at the end of a song, but just like turned up, so it's like and then
So are you listening to music very closely then, or is it just you got something like an ear for those sounds?
Yeah, I mean, like I've been, you know, obsessed with listening to music for, you know, my whole life. So it's I think it's also like an appreciation of like recording as an art, you know. Like when I found out I got like a 4-track tape machine when I was 16, I found out I could do everything myself. It's like, well, I'm not going to be in a band ever again. Like, like I can do it all myself. It's great. So the recording was as much of an art for me as the songwriting. You know, I think songwriting, you know, I think the songs should just come. Let's sit down with the guitar and be like, oh, you know, what are you gonna do? I think there are definitely people that are really good songwriters and can play 3 chords that someone else has written a million times before and make it their own, but that's just not what I can do. So when I found out that using the studio as an instrument was a possibility, that was much more kind of like.
Okay, so and I think James Blake has been a part of your group for a couple of years. So are there any more collaborations planned or anything planned with him in the near future, or how are you working with together, or is it just everybody working solo now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, when we started getting, a couple of years ago, when we started getting quite busy and we were like, oh, okay, so we got this gig and it was like, yeah, great. And we never wrote music together really. I mean, we wrote a little bit, but not very much, not very good stuff. And but James came and played live with us. And yeah, when we started getting a bit busy and we were like, oh, we've got a tour coming up, and like in America, and it was the first time that we went over there. And I mean, James was still at university and he was just starting to get like writing quite a lot of his own stuff and getting attention from that. So it was like, well, I can do it, but you know, I've got to do my exams, and so that time it was like we were, you know, too busy really, and we had too many gigs to make it work. And then now it's like, when the hell is James gonna do a gig? Like, the guy's touring like harder than we did, which is crazy. So I speak to him and like, hey, where are you? He's like, I'm in New York. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I'll call him like the next, you know, 2 days later. He's like, I'm in Australia. And I'm like, okay. And then I call him 2 days later. He's back in New York. I'm like, why don't you just stay in New York? Like, that's crazy. He's like, oh, you know, but so yeah, all over the place. But it'll be nice. I think we're doing. Occasionally we get to do shows together. I think he played here yesterday, yeah?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
We just missed him. So at the end of this year, we've got a show together up in Manchester, and I'm going to try and persuade him to do something for it, because we were going to do some stuff at the end of the year, and there's no time. No one's got any time, so I think we'll try and squeeze some stuff in at the end of the year, because it's good. It's always good fun. So.
Okay, and I was asking myself, how do you guys like this, the music which became before you guys became big, this whole dubstep thing? Because I think today we got Skrillex playing here and other big artists. So how do you like this much more? I don't know how to label it when it comes to your music and this music.
Sure. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not really my thing. Like, I don't really. I'm happy. Right, that's fine. If that's what dubstep is, that's fine. But it's not what we got interested in, you know, many years ago, and that's fine. You know, it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm so sad, dubstep is rubbish now. You know, I don't care. Like, I was into music a long time before I even heard any dubstep, and I will carry on listening to music after, you know, all this stuff has died. So it's like I care that, you know, it's just dance music going through, doing what dance music does, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I'm not probably won't see Skrillex tonight, but I just can't imagine seeing that shit for an hour and a half. You know, like 90, like
yeah.
How can you do? These kids are crazy. Like, I know, like, I mean, sometimes we play shows and it's like very gentle, you know, and I get like wanting to go to like a hardcore show or something like that, and like, but like more kind of metal, but like that, like Ableton, like laptop produced, like fucking noise. It's like an hour and a half is. It's a long time to do that for. It's a long time to do, but I would have to be. I always think I'd have to do a lot of drugs, but then I think maybe that would make it worse, and you just, you know, curled up in some corner. But
yeah, but what about guys like Burial? Because I think I have the feeling that he isn't so far away from your music in some when it comes to the atmosphere of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it was interesting actually when that record came out. It was a bit of a kick for us, because it was like. I mean, because that was huge, you know, a huge record, and it made me. I forget about it now, but I think at the time it made me think like, oh right, like this guy's doing this, and he's just putting it out, like, and it's working, you know. So like it gave me a lot of like hope, and like made me finish quite a lot of stuff. So yeah, he was like a great, you know, 2 incredible albums, really.
And one other album I would like to mention, this is Flying Lotus. Would you say that he had was anyhow an experience for you?
Yeah, I would say 1984 was like a big record for me, and I like everything that's done afterwards, really do. But that one was huge in terms of like, it's a similar kind of. I just moved to London, I think, when I heard that, and it was like, oh, this is, you know, one of those things where it's like, you know, because hip hop was one of my favourite things growing up, and you know, but it's, you know, it's quite rare that something comes along that's just like new and like brand new in every way. So it's like, I mean, and that's something that's, you know, still fresh, and like every now and again somebody will come, you know, and like Odd Future like last year and stuff like that, and it's like it's still got so much life in that genre of music, and like it's something kind of very, you know, visceral and human about it. So
why aren't you collaborating with hip hop artists? Is this something you would ever do or would like to do now?
You know what? I spent 5 years making like songs that sound like, or beats that sound like Pete Rock, you know, and stuff like that. So It's like I, you know, did that, and it wasn't very good. You know, it just sounded like rip-offs
So
of.
you think it's boring, isn't it?
Yeah. But occasionally, every now and again, there's something that come along that I think is good. But yeah, I don't know if I can do it myself. So I'd like in my at the end of the day, I'd like to do something that's like some other kid is like, oh shit, that Mount Kimbie record, and then it's like, so being like Pete Rock isn't going to do that. So.